Welcome to Come and Get It, your family dinner favorites. I'm Lisa Bralts, your host for today's program. Thank you so much for tuning in. During the show, we'll be talking about preparing that big family meal and the food that goes into it with home cooks, chefs, a beverage expert, and a pair of farmers. Our first guest is Thad Morrow. He's the owner and head chef at Bacro Restaurant in Champaign. He and his son Gus are here to prepare chicken thighs braised in balsamic vinegar. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So, Thad, if you could briefly tell us why you chose to bring this dish to the show tonight.
So this dish we cook at home a lot. I cook with Gus usually on Tuesday nights. And I like it simple enough, this interactive enough. There's a lot of colors we can talk about and we can count things out. It doesn't get too confusing and he can recognize carrots and leeks and bacon and chicken. So it's, and it kind of gets him involved because he knows the ingredients at this point.
Exactly. So is it an important thing for you to talk to kids about getting into the kitchen at a young age?
Yeah, I think it's important not just to talk to the kids, but I think it's important to talk to the parents about getting everybody back into the kitchen and everybody back to the dining room table. And so make it a dialogue with your kids and your spouse or whomever, and really start to connect again. Turn the TV off and and just talk about stuff and learn about things.
All right, sounds great. So how about we get started?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
So this is very simple. We're going to braise some chicken thighs in chicken stock and balsamic vinegar, which is the most important thing. So first we're going to add in a couple tablespoons of olive oil. Okay. Right, Gussie? Olive oil. So, and Dutch oven. And so when it's already kind of pre-warmed anyway. So we're going to add in some bacon. This is six slices of some local bacon. I use the same guy for the bacon and the chicken, Triple S Farms. These are we work well together, and that's the other thing too. You can not only just cook with your kid in the kitchen, but you can take them to a farm. Right. You can take them to farmers markets. So that's you can build up the activity and say we're going to go here, we're going to go there, and do this stuff. So
food becomes a thing. Yeah, it's not just eating. It's about a lot of other things.
It's like fun. It's like going to a museum. Or it's like going to school. So you're going to want to brown your bacon in the pan. Okay. So just let it go like that. While that's browning, we're going to cut up leek. I've already pre-cut some leeks, but you want to cut your leek in half. We've pre-washed it. Gus likes to.
I want to get a leek.
You want to cut a leek? Here, you can start cutting on that one with your little knife. And you can also talk about certain things like knife safety. So maybe he has a knife, but he doesn't really have a sharp knife. So
Mine will not be. Mine might not be able to.
Probably not going to cut through that, right? Not quite sharp enough. So we're going to peel these carrots.
Look at this part.
I think the recipe says like 5 or 6 whole carrots, but I found these carrots at the co-op, so I thought they were cool, and I think the people are going to be here today. So, so once this is kind of rendered out with your fat, you're going to want to add in.
Look it.
Yeah, you got it. Good job. You want to add in your leeks?
No, we're not Morrow yet.
Not your leek yet?
Ooh, I got it off.
Good job.
Now I need to get this one.
And the other thing is, there's really, when I'm cooking with Gus, there really isn't any wrong. I just kind of say, a little bit of seasoning here. If it's too much, then I really sweat it. Let him, kind of roll.
Look at all of it coming off.
I like that. That's the way to do it. So you put your leeks in and your carrots. Okay.
Well, not Morrow, because.
And you want to cook those until they're just cooked down.
Okay.
Not to get a lot of color on them. Just until they're softened and you get a little sheen to them.
But not like super.
Yeah, not too mushy because we're going to braise it anyway, so they're going to soften up later, and you don't want to overcook the carrots. Okay. So we'll add in these. Can I add in your leeks?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay. I'll wait then. I'll add in mine. Okay.
No.
Okay. And then you want a pinch of salt.
Okay.
A little bit of pepper. All right, and as that's cooking, we've already browned off the chicken thighs in advance. So they're not cooked through, they're just browned. Then we're going to add them, can I add them in now? Okay, thank you.
So any reason for this particular cut of meat?
I like the thighs because they're harder, and the legs because they're harder to overcook. So maybe you get distracted, strangely, and it's going, you don't have to worry like chicken breasts, overcook easy, they dry out, and in the end game, cut this off, you have a handle. It's a much easier thing to eat for kids than like a breast. Okay. All right, so as that cooks down, you're going to let it cook. And then later on, I'll just kind of talk you through. We're going to add in our thighs. Okay. Cook those, all right? Then the key ingredients, we're going to add in the balsamic. Okay. So it doesn't always have to be balsamic. It could be great apple cider vinegar. Sure. Could be, pick a vinegar. It's good and high quality, and you're good to go. Okay. So these are cooked down. We'll add in our chicken.
That looks good.
Perfect.
What's next?
So next, now is when we add our balsamic in.
Okay.
So you're gonna add about, a quarter cup, half a cup,
Okay.
something like that. And you want to use a nice high quality vinegar, because this is really one of the base ingredients. This is
Right.
where a lot of your flavor is gonna come from.
Okay.
So spend a little extra, get some good balsamic. Then you're gonna want to let that cook for a few minutes.
Okay.
Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, after that kind of cooks and stews for a little bit, you want to add in a couple cups of chicken stock.
Okay.
2 cups, 2.5 cups. Is that enough, Gus? More? How much more?
The whole bottle.
The whole bottle? Okay, if you say so. That's not too much?
No.
Okay. All right. So add in all your chicken stock. And then what you're going to do, bring that to a boil.
Okay.
Okay, so super simple. Now we're almost done.
Right.
Bring it to a boil. Let it cook on your stove, top it to simmer. After
Okay.
it boils, turn it down to a simmer.
Sure.
Let it cook like that, we'll say 45 minutes until the thighs are cooked through.
Okay.
Take your thighs out, right? And then you're gonna add in a little bit of creme fraiche or sour cream,
Okay.
yogurt. We were talking about Greek yogurt earlier.
Right, right.
You could add Greek yogurt.
Perfect.
And then we've got some pre-cooked rice, a little bit of rice, and then when you finish it with your sour cream. This is a nice handy trick for parsley.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to use that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look at combing it. And some chopped parsley. So finish with the creme fraiche, chop parsley into the sauce.
Cut this one.
And you can cut that one. That's a good one. Put it on a platter with your rice down. Lay your chicken breast there.
Okay.
Top it with the sauce. And you're good to go.
Perfect. So do you have any advice, just as we're wrapping things up here, for the home cook in their kitchen? What as they're making this dish or any other dish in 30 seconds or so?
I would say, most importantly, have fun. And don't stress out about cooking. That's like a chef's job in a restaurant, to stress out.
Right.
So if you're at home cooking, don't stress. It should be super easy, relaxing. Maybe listen to some music. We like that kind of stuff. So.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for coming.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it. We'll see you around, Thad.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
So, and now we will show you what the dish looks like. Have a look. It's beautiful. And welcome back to Family Dinner Favorites. My next guest is a home cook from Champaign, Illinois. Her name is Valerie Dykman. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, so tell us about what you're making today. What's the name of the recipe?
I'm doing curry kale potato casserole.
Okay, great. Is there a particular story behind this dish? Why did you submit this recipe?
I was looking for something to do with kale. We need some healthier greens in our diet, and I found this, and what really appealed to me was the spice in the curry.
Sure.
The curry, and it's got turmeric and red pepper. You can do whatever you wish with it, or you can leave it out.
Right, exactly. So it's versatile.
Very.
So, okay, are you ready to get started?
I am ready.
All right, show us.
Okay, first thing we're going to do is get some olive oil in the pan, and we've already got it heated up here, so
Okay.
it should be good. A little bit of a slant. It'll work. And sizzle. This is garlic and onion.
Okay.
I always like things that start with garlic and onion. It makes the house smell great.
Exactly. It always sounds like you're making, it smells like you're making something good no matter what.
Exactly.
Even if you have no ideas.
That's it. And we'll let that start. And while that's going, and I'm going to put a lid on it just because it's a
You want
little
me to turn it
noisy.
down a little bit?
Sure.
Okay.
And I've saved out some kale. I've got a lot chopped here, but I want to
Okay.
show you how I do kale.
Okay.
And I just take a nice sharp knife, and you want to get rid of the woody stems. Just slide it down each side.
Okay.
There you go. And we'll do another. Okay.
This is very healthy, beautiful looking kale.
I
And you can
love
use
it.
both kinds of kale. I think when we talked about this before, this is a the curly leaf kale, but you can also use the red Russian kale, which has a flatter leaf.
Exactly, and this one is even a little heavier than the kale I've used recently.
Okay.
So it's just, whatever they've got at the store, it's going to work in this.
Okay.
It's going to taste great. You're getting all those great vitamins. And we just do a little coarse chop, and we'll be all set.
Okay.
Now we're going to hope that this is cooked down a bit. There we go. Okay.
It smells delicious in here.
Now we're going to
We're
really
gonna torture
smell it.
everybody in here.
Now
yeah.
we're really going to add the smell. This is turmeric and curry, and I have red pepper and ginger.
And so it's a beautiful golden color. It's just
Turning
gorgeous.
beautiful. I do this in a glass dish too, just before so I don't want to forget, because I have done this. The turmeric can stain a metal pan,
Sure.
so I do glass with this.
Okay.
It cleans real well, and you can see that's really getting all those little bits up. And now we're ready for the kale.
Okay.
And I'm just going to pile it in.
Up a little bit.
The recipe calls for a bunch. This is probably a little more, bunches come in different
Right.
sizes. It's all relative.
And this is going to wilt down a little bit
Yes,
too
it will.
while it's cooking.
And
Okay.
it's going to wilt down quite a bit.
Okay.
And let's see, this here, put these in. I think that's enough.
Okay.
I fed the floor. If we were home, my dogs would pick that up for me. Okay. And we'll lid that.
Okay. So while that's cooking,
Now's the fun part. The mandolin.
yes, yes. And now explain to our viewers what a mandolin is and why it's such a great tool.
This is not the music mandolin.
Right, no.
This is the cutting mandolin. This one's really nice. It has a lock, so that it's safe right now. I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to the thickness I want. And
Oh,
I'm going to go
great.
3/16 of an inch,
So
just
it's like
because
a meat slicer
that's
kind
kinda
of
cool.
almost. Okay.
The important part of a mandolin is the guard.
Okay.
You want to make sure you're using that.
Sure.
And from there, it's just really simple. You just slide it across. You get nice, even slices, which really is going to ensure that everything cooks at the same temperature and the same speed. I think that's enough to show you how that worked.
Okay.
Then we take the
Beautiful.
potatoes,
Look at those.
set those aside.
Lovely.
I have a greased 9x13. It's all ready for the potatoes. You're going to start with a layer right across the bottom. I overlap them because you want a nice solid layer of potato.
Okay. So this is layering like a lasagna type
Just
thing.
exactly.
Okay.
Think of lasagna noodles. A nice layer. I've got some more over here. And we'll lay all those out. We'll stir that kale up.
Okay.
Okay. A little salt.
You want me to stir it?
Sure.
Okay. Oh my gosh,
See
it's
how
so
much it's
green.
wilted?
Look at that.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful color. And some pepper, and I love this. This is new for me. This
Okay.
is my new toy, my electric grinder. Isn't that fun? And it has light. So
A light?
you can see exactly what
Just
you're
in
doing.
case? Yeah. Okay.
If you're lost in the kitchen at night, grab the pepper grinder. I think we've got that nicely wilted.
Okay.
And we'll just use tongs here. And you can turn that heat. Can you get that heat for me?
Yep.
There
Just
we
all the
go.
way down? Okay.
I'm not going to need it.
Okay.
And we're going to layer about half of this kale and spread it all out nicely. Make sure we get some of the onion off there. Always falls to the bottom.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But you want that in each layer. Okay. We're going to throw on some more potatoes.
And is there a particular kind of potato that you like to use for this recipe?
You know, for this one, and the recipe itself calls for the russets, and I do that mostly because it's a nice size potato. You get
sure.
a nice slice, but I've done it with red potatoes, and I like to leave the peeling on. You could peel them, you know, it's all your preference.
Sure. So whatever you have around the house, you could, if you've got some kale and some potatoes and an onion, you could probably put this together.
Exactly, and I wouldn't worry about, you know, quantities. You could bring this down to 2. You know, just what
Sure.
what your family needs. I have a family of 2, so we always have leftovers with this.
I bet it's really good for lunch the next day.
It's great. It makes a wonderful brunch dish. I poached eggs and slid those on top.
That sounds awesome.
And we were really happy. I made it for friends. Now, when we'll finish this, we're going to put cheese.
Okay.
And
What kind of cheese?
at the very end, you can use, that's another thing, whatever cheese you want. I've had good luck. You can put Parmesan, a cheddar, Kojak. That
So
sort of-
again, what's around? You
Whatever
could
is
pretty much
around.
use whatever's around.
And if you've got someone that can't do dairy, a drizzle of olive oil instead of the
Okay.
butter, and we'd have another layer of potatoes here. And then we drizzle olive oil or butter. I've got melted butter here.
Okay.
We're going to drizzle that.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And it's ready for the oven.
we've got about 30 seconds left as we're wrapping things up here, and this is amazing looking. So, is there any advice that you have for any of the cooks out in the audience as they prepare this dish or any other dish? What would you like to leave them with?
I just, pretty much what Thad said, you know, find things that you enjoyed cooking and that have a lot of versatility, and look for things where you can substitute ingredients easily and make it your own. That's what I like.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Valerie.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Come and Get It, Your Family Dinner Favorites. I'm Lisa Bralts. I'm here with our next guest, Karen Pope. She comes to us from Charleston, Illinois tonight. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
What is it that you are making? It's something a little unusual or different.
I'm making grilled mussels with a lime butter sauce.
Okay, so mussels. Tell us a little bit about what we have to do or look for with mussels.
Sure. I really like using mussels. They're a great protein to use instead of chicken or beef, so you can change up your menu. With mussels, you can get them at your local grocery store, and you want to look for live mussels.
Okay.
The first thing I do when I get them is to clean them by soaking them in water for about 20 minutes, and that gets any dirt or sand out of the shells.
Okay.
Then the next thing I do is to check them for what's called a beard. It's this little hairy part right here on the side. If you see it, you just pop it off.
Okay.
The other thing you want to check for with mussels is to make sure that they're closed all the way.
Okay.
If they're not, you can kind of tap them shut, and they should seal back up. And if they don't, then you should discard them because they're probably not alive.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so these are some cleaned mussels, and I really like grilling them. It's a fast and easy way to cook them. It takes about 5 minutes on a hot grill at 350.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and put these mussels on here. And it doesn't matter really how you arrange them. I typically try to do it so that I can see them when they open.
Okay.
Mussels are really fun to cook with, I think, because they have a built-in timer. When they are ready, they start to open. And because they cook inside of a shell that does have some moisture, they pretty much steam themselves. So they're very low, you know.
Right. Yeah. No, they're low maintenance.
Right, low maintenance, thank you. And so, anyway, so while those are cooking, then I would start on my sauce. And this is just a wine reduction. So I'm going to heat about a cup of wine on medium-high heat.
Okay.
And once it starts kind of boiling and is reduced about by half, I'm going to add in cold butter. And this right here is a compound butter. I've made this up ahead of time, so it has shallots, leeks, and green onions, which I've sautéed. So
and you included this in the recipe that you sent, right?
Absolutely.
So the lime butter, we're good there.
Yes, it's in the recipe.
Okay.
And I also put lime zest and half of a fresh squeezed lime, which gives it this really bright citrus flavor and a kind of sweet oniony flavor.
Okay.
So I'm going to start adding this butter in one at a time and just kind of whisking it so that it starts to melt.
Okay.
And once that piece is melted, then I'm going to add the next piece.
Okay.
Because you're adding fat to a liquid, you don't want to add it too fast or it'll separate out and it won't be as tasty as it could be.
Okay, so in making this dish, it seems so complicated, but you say that it's very easy to prepare and doesn't really take that much time.
It is incredibly easy. I probably will have this sauce done before we're done chatting today. And the mussels, as you can see, some of them are already starting to open. The mussels take about 5 minutes on the grill. The sauce maybe takes about 8 or 10 minutes. And then I usually serve it over pasta, which according to package directions could be anywhere between 20 minutes with boiling water.
Right, right.
I really like serving this when I'm entertaining because I can do so much of it ahead of time. I can clean the mussels, I can make the butter. Pretty much I'm only in the kitchen to make the sauce and boil the pasta.
Or it saves time so you can do other things. You can make
entertain with my guests.
Yeah, exactly. Hang out.
Have some wine.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, this is a Chardonnay, and
does it matter?
It does not matter. I think any white wine would go really well with this butter.
Okay.
Whatever you like to drink,
Okay.
So pretty much when you're cooking with mussels, I really like. This is a recipe I developed when I was a kitchen manager at a busy catering and restaurant business, and we really wanted to use mussels because you don't see them a lot in Central Illinois. And now I do in-home cooking classes, and one of my goals with that is to encourage people to branch out and try new recipes, try new ingredients, and just see what's out there because there's a lot.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Mussels are also really cool. I'm sorry, I'm just going to go on about the mussels for a minute.
They are, we don't have any other mussel recipes in the book, I can pretty much guarantee.
All right.
So.
Well, with mussels, they can be grown sustainably. You can use man-made reefs, and they actually improve the biodiversity of the water around them. So I think that, you know, if you're worried about how what you're eating is impacting the environment, mussels are a really good option for some meal replacement or
especially with
protein
seafood.
replacement.
I think that's, you know, that's
absolutely
something we hear a lot about. So
now I have some of these that are opening up, so I'm going to get them off the grill.
Okay.
And you can see that beautiful orange color on the inside there. And that's exactly what you want to see when you're cooking with mussels.
So you just find the mussels at any supermarket, pretty much. You can.
I found them at the local grocery store in Charleston.
Okay.
And they were only $4 a pound, which is a pretty cost-effective substitute for, you know, chicken or beef. They're really great, and this compound butter that I make is really versatile as well. I think compound butters are really fun to use. You can add different ingredients to the butter ahead of time, and then you can melt it whenever you want. I know that I like to, this recipe that I put in the book does make a lot, but what I do is I usually portion it down and freeze some, and some I bring with me when I'm when I'm going to.
And how long does it keep in the freezer?
About 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
So you know, you can make it once and have dinner 4 or 5 different times, you know, and not get sick of it.
Okay.
So I think these mussels over here are done, and we are just going to pour some of this butter sauce on it.
Okay.
Like I said, I usually serve it over pasta, but these are great as an appetizer on their own.
Oh, wow. That's a good idea.
Yeah. And I usually serve it with whatever vegetable is fresh and in season. We have a great farmer's market in Champaign. I know there's one, and there's one in Coles County in the summer months. So, you know, I encourage people to go out and seek what's out there, because there's definitely a lot to be had in this area.
Definitely, I would agree. Okay, so we've got about a minute left. This is the step that you're doing here, is you're just sort of basically soaking them in this butter.
Yep.
And then
drenching them in the sauce.
And then what do we have here?
And then I have some tomatoes and some parsley, which I'm just going to garnish with. And these tomatoes are just another bright, fresh kick. And the parsley just looks great. When I'm entertaining, this is just an impressive dish to serve, because you get to see these dramatic mussels that are so dark with the orange flesh, and you have that rich, buttery sauce.
Right.
It's just a great dish.
Definite wow factor. So
absolutely.
Okay, so anything else you want to add real quick? 10 seconds?
If for any new cooks out there, I would encourage them to read the recipe before they get started, all the way through.
Good advice. Karen, thank you so much for joining us today. You can look at your screen and see the finished dish. It's beautiful. And we're back with more family dinner favorites. Right now we're going to take a few minutes to talk about the ingredients for some of these dishes. With me right now are Hans and Katie Bishop from Prairie Earth Farm in Atlanta, Illinois. Thank you so much for joining us, you guys.
Thank you.
So you're sort of starting to gear up for farmers market season, for the growing season. I know we have snow in the forecast, so it's kind of hard to believe that we're only a couple months away. Hans, can you explain what kind of farming you do and what types of things that you grow?
Sure. It's basically, we consider ourselves a diversified certified organic farm, so we're not just growing 1 or 2 crops. We're growing a wide variety of things, everything from corn and soybeans to cows, pigs, chickens for livestock, and then produce for the farmers markets and stuff.
Sure. But so how did you get into it? It's not typical that we have farmers who are so young. I think a lot of people picture in their minds maybe an older person who's been farming for a long time.
Yeah, well, we don't necessarily like to follow the trend, but at any rate, I grew up on the farm, and I helped my grandpa and my dad farm when I was growing up. I went off to college, got an office job, which is where I met my wife Katie here, and we began talking about wanting to do something more and being a part of local foods and being a part of the organic movement. And we decided we were going to take on the vegetable operation and work with my dad. And we decided to begin marketing our stuff through farmers markets, and we now do 2 farmers markets here in Urbana and in Bloomington. We have a CSA. We also sell to the co-op here in Urbana as well.
Right. So Katie, can you talk just a little bit about local and why it's important to support the local farmer and to support and also the organizations that support those farmers?
Absolutely. So local helps everybody. It helps the farmer, it helps the community because it keeps the money in the community, so you have a really prosperous economy. And also the food is just better. I mean, it's fresh, it tastes better, and you're going to enjoy shopping for it because you get to interact with the customer or with the farmer and the customer. So
Right.
it's just, it works for everyone.
Sure. So I want to talk a little bit about what it is that you grow. What exactly what plans do you have this year? And let's talk about specialty crops, like the things that you're bringing to farmers markets.
Well, it's pretty simple. It's just everything from arugula to zucchini. So anything that fits in that spectrum.
Right.
But you know, we do a lot of greens. I think one of the things we're pretty popular or pretty well known for is our carrots and our heirloom tomatoes. We like to grow a wide variety of those, so you don't just see a standard red tomato or a standard orange carrot. We have red, purple, yellow. I mean, colors of the rainbow and carrots, colors of the rainbow and everything.
Thad used your carrots tonight in the dish that he prepared. So, so Katie, is cooking with fresh produce any different? Like, and what do you like to make with the produce? You guys are swimming in it during the summer months. So, what sorts of things do you like to make in keeping with the theme of this show?
Yeah, I think cooking with fresh produce requires less ingredients because the flavors are so strong. So you don't need to add a lot of seasonings to it. Or, I mean, just a simple sliced tomato salad with mozzarella, a little olive oil, a little salt is perfect. And that's what's so easy about using fresh ingredients. So that's what we eat a lot in the summer because we're really busy. So we don't have a lot of time to prepare meals. So it's a lot of grilled vegetables, grilled meats. And then in the winter, we use a lot of our preserved foods. So we've got canned tomato sauce and frozen green beans. Right now we're doing a lot of soups and roasted meats. So it's all what's in season.
Sure. So, and do you do the preserving yourself on the farm?
Yes.
So, and do you guys sell any of those preserves at any of the farmers markets, or is that something that you might get into at some point?
Yeah, so we do sell our jams and jellies at the market in Bloomington and soon Urbana this year.
Okay.
And then we're also going to start doing some prepared pico de gallo.
Nice.
That'll be really good, and maybe some additional kind of salads, cold salads.
Okay, and my last question is, like we said at the beginning, market season is approaching, so what will you have at the very beginning of the season? And I'm not sure, I know Urbana starts on May 5th. I'm not sure when Bloomington starts, but what kinds of, May 5th? Okay, so what kinds of things, real quick, 15 seconds, what will be available?
Kale, greens, lots of root vegetables like carrots and radishes and turnips and beets, and you know, we have 4 hoop houses and we're growing in them now, so we're ready to go.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Hans and Katie Bishop from Prairie Earth Farm, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Lisa.
Welcome back to Come and Get It, your family dinner favorites. Now, my next guest sent us a recipe for a pie that he said is so good it'll make you want to slap your mama. Not really sure we want to see that happen here tonight. This is John Parker. He's from Danville, Illinois. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so tell us, just give me a tiny bit of backstory about this.
Okay, well, this is a buttermilk pie, just simply comfort food. It's really good. It's easy, fast. I got this from my sister, Shorty. All the kids call her Mama Shorty, and it's a really easy recipe.
All right.
The first thing you want to do, get a mixing bowl, melt your butter, 2 whole sticks of butter.
Okay.
That's a lot of butter.
All right. I'm okay with that.
You want to add your sugar to that. That 1.5 cups of sugar. Then you want to put a half a cup of flour, just basically for thickening.
Okay.
And a cup of buttermilk. Wouldn't be buttermilk pie without it, right?
No, it wouldn't, exactly.
You mix it all together. There's really no set system on how you should do it.
Okay.
You want to separate your eggs because you only want the yolks.
Right,
You can use the whites to make a meringue with when you're done.
Sure, or for other things.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So, and the easiest way to separate an egg yolk is just to break it in half, and you just kind of catch your yolk.
It's a dangerous game, separating an egg on live TV.
And get a 6-year-old kid to do this, you'll be cleaning up for days.
Sure. So you have some of the smaller set come in to help you out too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I got grandkids in there. They love to cook. And I don't have to clean up. That's why we have Nana.
Yeah.
4 egg yolks.
Okay.
You want a teaspoon of lemon juice.
Okay.
Yeah, just a good teaspoon.
Okay.
1 teaspoon of vanilla.
All right. And so now, this is it.
That's it.
That's
I mean,
it.
basically it. You can use a mixer or whisk.
Okay.
You just mix it all together.
Okay.
You know, buttermilk is naturally low fat, but anything that you gain from that, you're going to lose with the sugar.
Right. I was going to say.
Yeah.
The other ingredients sort of negate that.
Yeah, but you don't make.
That's a nice color too.
You don't make Southern pies for losing weight. You make Southern pies for
No.
enjoyment.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you just mix it all together.
Okay.
Pour it in your pie shell.
Now I notice here you have a pre-made like flour crust, but you can also use a graham cracker crust.
Yeah, I prefer a graham cracker crust, but the only thing you're going to see a little bit of darkening from the crust get into your pie. And if
Okay.
you don't mind the way it looks, it tastes great.
Okay. All
Tastes
right.
great.
Now how long does this go into the oven?
In the oven at 350 for 50 minutes.
Okay.
And don't vary it from that.
And then do you have to let it cool or anything like that?
Yeah, I
or-
would for about 30 minutes.
Just let
You
it
know,
sit.
let it, and it'll, because when you take it out, it's going to be a little jelly-like, but
Okay.
it'll
And then
firm
it'll set
right
kind
up.
of like a sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie.
Exactly.
So
It'll firm
okay.
up in it, and they're really delicious.
Okay. Well, this at our rehearsal, this was a huge hit, so I'm pretty sure it'll be a hit in just about any family. So, John, thank you so much for joining us
Well,
today.
thank you for having me. I really enjoyed myself.
And if you're interested in seeing what the pie looks like, just check out your TV screen here in just a second. It is a gorgeous piece of work. So in keeping with the sweet things to eat theme, my next guest continues a family legacy of cooking with us on WILL TV. Her brother cooked with us just a few years ago. Her name is Paige Sigmund. She's from St. Joseph, Illinois. Hi, welcome back to the show.
Hi. My brother said to say hi to him because he did it when I was.
Okay, do you want to say hi to him?
Hi, Gran.
Okay, all right. So what will you be making with us today?
Power balls.
Okay, power balls. So what are some of the ingredients in power balls? Maybe we can even start putting them together right now.
Well, there's honey, peanut butter. We use natural because it has a lot less added sugars and fats. and
Okay,
stuff.
these are kind of cool contraptions
Yeah.
here.
This is your honey.
Okay,
1 cup honey.
all right.
We like the local honey.
Uh-huh.
Better for the environment because it doesn't pollute so much because it doesn't take so much gasoline to transport it.
Excellent. Guilt-free power balls. I like that. So, okay, next up, so the honey goes in first. Next up is the peanut butter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Natural.
Right, all natural peanut butter.
All it is
I love
is-
this thing.
All it is peanuts and salt.
Okay, perfect.
So
Okay. And then what's next?
your 3 cups quick cooking oats.
Okay. So put all those in there. Beautiful. Now you have a lot of ingredients here. Especially I see a couple different types of dried fruit. That looks
Yeah.
good.
Ground flax seeds.
Flaxseed. Okay. That's the healthy part, right?
Yeah.
Good for your heart.
I was
Chopped,
going to say all of this is pretty healthy, I would
chopped
say.
walnuts.
Okay.
Or any other kind of
Any other
nut.
kind of nuts? Okay.
Raisins.
Okay. There you go. It's good.
Dried chopped cherries.
Dried chopped cherries. Okay.
Or
Great.
any other kind of dried fruit.
Sure. So currants or dried blueberries.
Yeah.
You could mix it up.
Yeah.
Get some variety.
Definitely.
Miniature chocolate chips.
Very
we
cool.
used semi-sweet.
Okay. Good. Okay. So is that everything?
Yes.
So then the next step would be to start,
Mixing
and
it.
and from what I understand, it takes quite a bit of
Yeah.
work to get that done. So.
And then
Okay.
it.
All right. Well, so we're gonna skip that work part, but now we've got some completed Powerball mix so that you can show us how to make the balls. Oh, thank you.
Well, you can use your hands or a cookie scoop or both.
Okay.
You scoop it up, pack it in. Doesn't really matter what size it is, but
Okay. You can use the side of the bowl too if you wanted to.
Yeah, and then to make it more power ballish shape.
Right. Give it a spherical shape. Okay, so just plop it out like this. Okay. All right, Paige, so when you make these, do you like to make these for a snack? Do you have them for dessert sometimes?
Mostly dessert.
Mostly dessert. Okay, because I had one of these things and it really filled me up. And so that's about it for us for this part of the show. So thank you so much for joining us. Okay, maybe we'll have you back, or any siblings that you have, maybe they can come back too. So, and if you're interested in seeing what the power balls look like, just check out your screen. And welcome back to the show. I'm Lisa Bralts. Thank you so much for joining us today. My next guest is Carrie Penning-Bush from Champaign, Illinois. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So tell us what it is that you're preparing today.
Well, this dish is known as turkey manicotti in our family. Actually, what I'm going to be making tonight is a version of that. What we usually do is make it after Thanksgiving when you've got all that extra turkey meat left over. And during the regular year, when you don't have turkey, you can just buy one of those roasted chickens at the store and make this dish.
Perfect.
So we're going to be doing chicken instead of turkey, and also instead of stuffing manicotti, this is a manicotti noodle if you haven't used one before. We're going to be using jumbo shells because they're a little different, a little bit easier to stuff, and it makes a really nice dish. I also want to say this dish comes from my parents.
Okay.
Beverly and Larry Penning over in Decatur, Illinois.
Shout out to the Pennings. Okay, great.
And it's a special dish for our family. My sisters and I all make this dish. It's a go-to dish for our family. It's comfort food, but also it's a little bit different than what you would expect for like an Italian manicotti type thing. And it's very healthy too. Well, not very healthy. It's on the healthy side.
It's lighter. Sure. Okay,
It's
gotcha.
got lots of vegetables and things in it, so it's really good.
All right, let's get started.
All right, so we're going to make the filling in the food processor. What I've got right here is 3 cups of chopped, cooked chicken. Okay, I'm just going to put that right in there.
Okay, you can hand me your dishes.
That's
I'll
great.
just put them
Thank
right
you.
over here. Sure.
This is 8 ounces of roughly chopped mushrooms that were sauteed in olive oil ahead of time. Okay.
Right.
Also, you take a package of frozen chopped spinach, defrost it in the microwave, and then squeeze out all the liquid. So that's why I've got this funny looking towel and it's all
That's your
shrivelly
spinach
looking.
towel.
Right.
Right, okay.
Right. So I've
I can take
squeezed
that.
out extra liquid that way.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to take these ingredients and kind of pulse them so that the filling gets kind of more uniform. And then add some more ingredients to it after that. But here we go for pulsing. Just to do one more. You don't want to do too much because then it gets kind of mushy.
Like pasty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that looks actually pretty good.
Okay.
I'll leave it like that. We take those ingredients and put them into a large bowl. Okay. And we're going to mix in a few other things here.
Okay. Are you
yeah,
going
why
to use
don't you
this?
take that?
Okay.
No, I'm not.
All right.
Here.
Got it.
Like I said, in our family, it's known as turkey manicotti, and I took it and I've kind of added a few things of my own. I add toasted walnuts to it. So this is, I think, a half a cup of toasted walnuts.
Okay.
We add, oh, I bet that's not open. Could you open that for
I'll
me?
do my best.
We're going to add 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese. Okay. Oop, a little bit too much. In our family, this is called shaky cheese. We put that on our pasta. And then to kind of make it all stick together, we're going to put 1 beaten egg in there too.
Okay.
Extra calcium that
Easy.
way.
Just have no little pieces. That's good. So.
Okay, so this is going to help it all stick together. I'm going to give that to you too.
Okay. It's cute. The whisk.
It's my travel whisk. And I need a little salt and pepper.
Okay.
And this is just to taste. It's not like a
It's
certain
not a
amount.
measurement. Okay.
Right. Okay, and I'll just keep
Beautiful.
handing those over to you.
Thank you.
And again, I just like to put my own spin on things. I'm putting about a teaspoon of dried thyme.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to the summertime when I can put fresh thyme in it instead.
You could probably add just about any sort of herb to it that goes with poultry.
Right, exactly. Tarragon might be good.
That's what I was thinking.
Basil might even be good too, but thyme was the one that came to my mind.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm mixing this all up, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this right into the shells. And so we both have clean hands.
Okay.
There's one for you.
Perfect. Thank
One for
you.
me, always prepared.
All right.
And here is our dish. Okay. We put the stuffing. Take a shell.
Okay.
Okay. And just grab some with your hands. This is great to do with kids because it's easy and it's fun. You get to get messy. Stuff
So
those
just like this?
shells. Yep.
Okay.
Not too much, not too little.
Okay.
And then just kind of arrange them nicely in your dish. Go ahead.
Okay.
And let's do one more, just for fun. Can you get one? There. Okay. Obviously, you're going to fill up this whole dish.
Sure.
And then you've made a simple white sauce.
The recipe for which is also
In the recipe.
in the
there,
recipe that you
included.
submitted. Okay.
And the white sauce has a little bit of Parmesan cheese in it, and then a little bit of nutmeg, and you pour it over. Obviously, this would be all filled.
Right.
And we can turn this off now. And then sprinkle it with Parmesan cheese again.
Okay. Right over here. So while you're doing that, Carrie, do you have any tips or advice in about 15, 20 seconds for people in the kitchen making this dish?
It's not a dish that you can make when you're, going home from work. You have to have some of this done ahead of time. Buy a chicken, get the chicken off the bone, freeze it. Boil stuff up and have it ready to put together.
Okay.
Do it step by step.
Okay, great, great advice. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, it was a lot of fun.
And check out your screen if you're out there watching the program to see what the finished dish looks like. And we're back with more Family Dinner Favorites. Thank you so much for joining us for the show. My next guest is the head chef at Prairie Fruits Farm in Champaign, Illinois. She also lives in Champaign. Welcome to Elisa DeMarco.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for coming. So
Thank you.
what is on the menu today?
Okay, so I'm making a white bean and Italian sausage stew.
Okay, and
with,
is this something that you make at home for
It
your
is.
family?
I make
okay.
it all the time. It's a great dish. You can substitute ingredients really easily. You tend to have everything that you need in the pantry or in the freezer, so it's just something you can do really easy for your family, and it's really quick.
Okay, all right.
make.
So let's
Okay.
get started.
So,
Well, you've already gotten started.
so what I did was I started browning some Italian sausage here in the pan. This is from the farmer's market. And when you get that nice and brown, you just remove it from the pan. Like that. And to that, you want to, on medium heat, you're going to add, hopefully you have a little grease left over from the sausage.
Sure.
But you want about 2 tablespoons of oil in there when you're.
So you're using
So
olive
I'm
oil
adding
here.
a little bit of
Okay.
extra virgin olive oil. And to that, you're gonna add some onion, just finely diced, small diced onion, and garlic, chopped about 3 cloves of garlic.
You don't like the garlic mincer, as I recall. You don't like the garlic press. No,
I don't.
You like to chop it by hand.
I don't like to clean the garlic press. And I also just like the flavor of just gently chopped garlic. So every time you add an ingredient to the pan, you want to add a little seasoning. And season as you go. The salt
and pepper.
The salt helps draw out the flavors from the onion and the garlic.
Okay.
So you always want, it's an important addition.
Okay.
So you're gonna let that go for a few minutes till it starts to soften up.
Okay.
And you want to stir, and you want to watch that garlic doesn't brown too much on the bottom.
That makes it more, is that a more bitter taste when it does that? Okay.
Okay, so when that starts to happen, that's when you're going to add about a 1/4 cup of parsley.
Okay.
And get that nice and wet in the oil. It kind of draws out some of the oils and the herbs.
Okay. Looks so pretty and green.
And then you're just going to add a little bit of white wine.
Doesn't matter what kind?
This is Sauvignon Blanc, but it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
You can just use anything you have, whatever's open.
Okay. It's a good strategy.
To that, you're going to increase the heat a little bit to kind of cook off the wine. And as you do it, you scrape up this is called the fond.
The fond?
In the bottom of the pan.
Okay. It has a cool French name or something, so.
And because that's flavor. So you want to scrape that back up. Okay?
Okay.
So this, from here, it's really easy.
Okay.
So you're going to add a can of tomatoes. You can use your own if you have any left. I've cooked through all of mine already this year. So these are just canned organic.
Okay. So just
tomatoes.
one like 15-ounce can or okay.
Yep. And then you're going to add your kale, and you can use any kind of kale.
Okay.
Whatever you have. And
this looks like more the curly leaf kale.
Yeah, this is just your traditional basic kale. And what you do is you just strip it off the stems. Make sure you've washed it, hopefully. And stack it on top of each other and just slice it into ribbons. That's all I've done.
Okay.
Okay, so this is about half a bunch. You add that back in.
Okay.
Here's where you add your salt and pepper again.
More salt, yep.
Okay. And to that, about 3 cups of chicken broth.
Okay.
And I like to cook with, if I'm going to use store-bought chicken broth, I always buy the low sodium.
The low sodium, okay.
I mean, if you have your own, it's much better. But sometimes you just have to make do.
Right.
Okay. So you just stir that around. Add in about 2 cups of your cooked beans.
And those can be pre-cooked from the dried beans that you got, or they can be beans from a can, whatever you were able to do.
Whatever's on hand. And then you add the sausage back in.
I wish the viewers could smell this because I'm dying over here. It really smells great.
This is where I kind of switch to tongs, so I can kind of mix it in a little bit better.
Okay.
And then you just want to bring it up to a simmer. So you turn it up a little bit more.
Okay.
And put a lid on it. Where's my lid? And that's it for 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Roughly.
So provided you have all the ingredients and you're using maybe stuff from a can, or you sort of pre-gamed a little bit and were able to get things ready, this really doesn't take very long. This is something that somebody can make as soon as they get home from work.
Yeah, and that's why I make it all the time, because it's really easy and really quick. And it's just really, it's one of those dishes that's super comforting and really nutritious all at the same time. So it just works really well for a family.
So as a chef, and I didn't get a chance to ask Thad this earlier, but as a chef, I think a lot of people think that you guys it's fancy dinner all the time at your houses, you know, that it has to be perfect all the time. And so can you talk a little bit about how that isn't really the case and that you have your own go-to foods for your own family?
For us, that's very much the case. We both work, and we have a 3-year-old son, Cole, and so we're busy when we get home in the evenings. So I really try to go to things that are healthy that I can get together quickly, and I do a lot of things on Sundays to you know, roast that chicken, use the leftovers for tacos later in the week or something like that. But no, we don't. I maybe do 1 or 2 fancy meals a week, but really
it's still pretty good.
It's pretty simple at our house too.
Okay. All right, well, let's take the lid off and just get one last look at what we've got going here.
Yeah, it really hasn't gotten going quite yet.
Looks beautiful, though.
But it's going to release a little bit more liquid from the kale, and that'll cook down. And
okay. All right.
And that's it. And when it's all finished, I like to add a little fresh grated cheese and a little olive oil on top, and the rest of the parsley.
Thanks, Elisa.
Sure.
Looks beautiful. Thank you. And we're back with Come and Get It, your family dinner favorites. Thanks so much for joining us today. With every great meal, there's an opportunity to pair beverages. Todd Fusco is the manager at Corkscrew Urbana, and he's joining us right now to demonstrate some wine pairings for the dishes our chefs and cooks prepared today. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Okay, so before we get started with actually pairing the wines to the dishes that we saw today, let's have a little wine pairing 101. How do you know what wine goes with a particular type of food?
I think a lot of times people probably, you know, it's one of the things is that this is supposed to be fun and enjoyable. So first of all, don't make it a big deal.
Right?
Yeah, relax a little bit about it. But one thing I like to point out to people is compare and contrast. So like with sweet wine, you want to pair that with a dessert, sweet to sweet. And then sometimes you have rich food, which we have some of the examples tonight. You want to have wine with some acidity and some contrasting flavors to cut through that. All along the same lines too, having some comparison flavors too to bring out both in each dish. And so the wine's really just supposed to prepare the tongue for the next bite is a way to think about it.
Okay, all right, so that's good. All right, so let's get started. The first wine that you're going to match up is with the white bean stew with the Italian sausage and kale that Elisa made. So which wine would you be suggesting for that?
This guy from Southern Italy, it's Primitivo.
Okay.
So Primitivo is what most Americans would know as Zinfandel. So it originated in Croatia, brought it over to Italy. Italian immigrants in the 1800s brought over to California.
Okay.
So you got some anise in there that plays off that fennel that you get in the sausage, nice blackberry flavors, good acidity, because you've got that really hearty stew and that rich, and the beans will thicken it up and stuff, and I think that'll play really well. And it goes well with tomatoes too.
Okay. Next up, the chicken thighs braised in balsamic vinegar that Thad did with Gus.
Yeah, which I pair with a French wine, and hopefully he's at home now.
Yeah.
Swearing at me. But anyways, I really like this wine. I love Pinot Noir with chicken. I think it's a great match. This is really interesting. This is from Burgundy. This is actually a blend, which is very unusual. It has a little Gamay, which a lot of people would know as Beaujolais. Nice strawberry, cherry flavors, and it should pair up just really well with the chicken and the earthiness of he's got some leeks in there, and the bacon, and then cut through that cheese and even work with the balsamic.
Okay. All right, great. So the third wine is for the curry kale and potato casserole, which is a very fragrant vegetarian, so there's no meat in there. So what you got?
So I went with this Pinot Blanc, which is a mutation, believe it or not, of Pinot Gris, which is a mutation of Pinot Noir.
Okay.
But the thing I like about this, you've got that upfront fruit, really nice fruit that'll go with the sweetness of the sweet potato. Plus, it's, as you mentioned, the little perfuminess of the curry and the spiciness. It'll handle that really well because it's got some of those elements too, and some nice fruit flavors.
Okay. Okay. Fourth up, now this is for the dessert. You opted out of the power balls. In fact, I saw in your notes a glass of milk.
Glass of milk, yeah.
Was what you were going
especially
to pair
see the
with
little, yeah, that's
right. So, but the Mama Shorty's buttermilk pie. What's the pairing you've decided on?
So I picked Moscato. It's really nice, low alcohol. It's got a little fizz to it, which helps clean the palate because that pie is really heavy and dense, and you've got that creaminess. Also, too, it's got a lot of fruit flavors like peaches, apricot. There's also some vanilla in it that plays off the vanilla that's in the dish, and it refreshes. Think of it as like having like a glass of like fresh fruit with it. Well, a lot of times you like with dessert to kind of clean up because that's a really beautiful, heavy solid dessert.
Yes, it was. Like I had I told the cook, it was a very popular item on the set.
It didn't last long in the
No, it
green
did
room?
not. It did not. Okay, so what about the grilled mussels with the lime butter over the pasta?
So I went with Pickpool, which is the name of the grape. It's from the Languedoc. In this region, they're famous for their shellfish, and this is grown right near there. And a lot of times, I think one of the things with wine pairing we need to keep in mind is if you're having Italian food, have Italian wine, or something from something from the region to the region, and keep it in that kind of perspective. This really brings out the sweetness and the shellfish. There's a little salinity to the wine itself, plus some lime flavors that I think will come with it when you have that lime butter and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's a really interesting little story behind it with the caterpillar on the bottle. The village used to be ravaged by caterpillars, so every year they have a festival. They dress up as a caterpillar. Ravaged. They would eat the grapes, which is not good.
Okay. Okay, and to wrap it up here, we've got about a minute left. Turkey manicotti, what's the wine you chose for that?
So the Vernaccia. So this one, that's the grape. It's got really, once again, nice acidity. It kind of is a theme throughout because, once again, you clean the palate. There's some lemon, some quince, some herbs. So I'll go with the thyme that she added, that she liked to add.
Yes.
Plus there's some nuttiness to this wine that go really great with the baked cheese. And then she also added some walnuts too, and I thought that would just be a really nice pair.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. So wine with dinner, wine with dessert. We've seemed to have covered it all here.
It's easy enough to do.
All right.
There's a lot of wine out there in the world.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and pairing these wines. So cheers.
Cheers. Do a great show.
Thanks for joining the show. Thank you. That about wraps things up for us today on Come and Get It, your family dinner favorites. I'd like to say a big thank you to those who cooked with us tonight: Thad, Morrow, and Gus, Valerie Dykman, Karen Pope, John Parker, Paige and Melissa Sigmund, Carrie Penningbush, and Elisa DeMarco. Thank you so much for sharing your awesome cooking skills with us. Thanks also to Hans and Katie Bishop and Todd Fusco for sharing their expertise today. I'd also like to shout out to my colleagues here at WILL TV for putting the show together and doing such a great job. But most of all, a big thank you for watching today, and an extra big thank you to those of you who pledged your support to WILL TV as you watched. We hope you got some cooking inspiration to get in the kitchen, or even just to write down some of those important recipes to pass along to others in your family, however you choose to define family. Thank you so much. See you in the kitchen, and see you at the table.